Hey, welcome. In today's video we will be talking about changing habits and lifestyles, or setting yourself goals. Why are you choosing to do them? And how are you achieving them really? Are you being mindful about the approach? Are you taking these new habits on as an act of self-love, or say self-sabotage? And how much of that is really social pressure? Are you trying to be that girl, or are you being authentic to you and you're setting up goals that are meaningful to who you are? If you're new here, my name is Federica. I haven't actually made any video in ages, so this is like a hello, welcome back to me. And I make videos about mindful living. I'm a yoga instructor by profession. And on that note, a disclaimer, I am not a mental health professional, a life coach by any means. So these are just accumulated tips and observations from my life. This is by no means the only way of going about these things, or me claiming that I know everything and, you know, come and follow me for that reason. It's more like, I am learning, you are learning, let's learn together and see where it takes us. If something doesn't resonate, just leave it out to the side. If you don't like this video, if you don't like me, just, you know, keep scrolling and move on. At the start of the year, there is this, you know, obviously the new year, new me type of pressure or language that goes around. And we tend to set a lot of goals around this time of the year, and maybe first we feel really motivated and then we start to falling away from those things. Or perhaps, on the other hand, you are in the camp that don't want to fall into that cringy space. So how can you change your habits without it being just a genuine thing? Something that you can revisit in January, but also throughout the year. So firstly, you need to know, why are you choosing changing your habits or your lifestyle, or why are you setting a certain goal? If you don't know your why, you won't be able to stick to that, and you won't be able to feel that like authentic connection, like this is truly me, I truly desire this for myself. So if the reason why you're changing your habits is due to social pressure, maybe you watch certain influencers or your friends on Instagram and you feel like they live a certain lifestyle, so you're trying to fit into that and mold into that space, maybe even subconsciously thinking that their ideas and their lifestyle is yours. It happened to me plenty of times before in the past, where I would adopt other people's habits, likes and dislikes subconsciously, and then over time I would look back and be like, whoa, that was so weird, that just wasn't me. So check back with you, like, what is the lifestyle that you are living at the moment? What are your current habits? What is it that's working and is not working? And those things that are not working, why are they not working? And if you choose to change them, how are you going to go about it? Social pressure can be coming from different angles at you. It can be coming from your family members very often, and close friends, co-workers. It might be, you know, that odd auntie that you see, or maybe it's your mom. I mean, my mom criticizes me all the time. I don't think she means it in a mean way, but it just, I receive it that way. And you hear these comments that maybe repeat a few times, and they create a pattern that makes you believe that that habit of yours or that trait of yours is a bad habit, and you must change it. But maybe in fact that particular pattern or habit is maybe comes from a place of setting boundaries, or, you know, self-preservation. Maybe it's a coping mechanism. So you need to ask yourself, I'm not saying that if it's a coping mechanism or any of those things I just mentioned is healthy or unhealthy. It can be either. So you kind of have to recognize it for yourself. And that takes me on to the next point. Recognizing your patterns is the only way for you to really change any of your habits. So if you do decide that something doesn't work, doesn't align. I personally, to give you an example, I'm constantly late. I always run late, and my time management and organizational skills in my personal life is really rubbish. So what tools can I use to be preventative of that happening in a way that it doesn't require too much effort of me? So it's simple enough for it to become a habit, because to create a habit, you know, science says that you're supposed to do it 66 days, whatever. whatever the number of days, it's a prolonged period of time that you have to do it over and over and over until it sinks into your brain, so you don't have to think about it. I don't think this is new information to anyone. When you recognize your pattern, it's really hard to break it, so you want to replace it with something that isn't too complicated. So rather than saying, I am always late, and in the morning, you know, I don't have time and that's why I'm always late because I wake up too late. So I'm gonna put in a massive morning routine in place, and I'm gonna write down in bullet points 10 different things I want to do in the morning. I want to wake up and drink a glass of water, and then I want to meditate, and then do a breath work, a little bit of yoga, do my skincare, have my coffee and breakfast, because without those I'm grumpy. This is an extensive list of things. Ain't gonna happen, girl. Like, I'm not gonna follow that. Like, I know I'm not gonna follow that. And I know that because I've done that mistake before, writing out a really thorough list. Instead, I just decided a simplest thing ever. I'm just gonna wake up 15 minutes earlier than I normally would do. What I'm gonna do in those 15 minutes on the day is up to me. If it's gonna end up being meditation, great. If it's gonna end up being you know, a little bit more bougie breakfast than usually, great. If it's gonna end up being me doing a really great skincare routine on the morning, amazing. And then I can build on that. Once the 15 minutes have sunk in, my body got used to them, then I can layer in that time and space, and maybe I can eventually add another 5 minutes or another 10 minutes, another 15 minutes to build up to that desired morning routine that you see on YouTube and social media. And let me also tell you, those people who post those things, I can't speak for them because it's not me. I never had that experience in my life, but I strongly doubt they do that every single day. I bet they have days when they just rush out the freaking door and they're still, you know, putting their ponytail up while going down the stairs, and last minute checking how to get to the place, and didn't have anything yet to eat, and certainly haven't done any meditation. Just be realistic with the way you're gonna replace those habits, and be honest with yourself when it comes to recognizing your patterns. So honesty and mindfulness come hand in hand. First, you need to be truthful with yourself on what you feel and what you experience. If I say, for instance, that I am snappy because, and after because follows by my boyfriend did this and that, my neighbor did this and that, my coworker did this and that, I am putting the blame on people and circumstances. If instead I say, I'm snappy because today I feel this, and that, then I'm tapping into my feelings and emotions. And when you're going to start to work with your feelings and emotions, it's not superficial. That's I think what I'm looking for, is you go beneath the surface. So instead of just looking at the pattern surface level, at this is the line up of actions that happen that lead me to this point, I also look at how I felt in the moment, and then I start to ask myself why I felt that way. And that's when you tap into that true honesty, that really intimate conversation with yourself. And it's hard to have it, you know, it's hard to talk about it with other people. It's even harder to talk with it with yourself, right? That's where your mindfulness will come into place. That's living mindfully. That is living the practice of yoga. What you do in yoga class, you take out with you into your everyday. It's not what happens on a mat. It's what happens anytime, at any point during your day. When you recognize your patterns, your moods, your feelings, whatever it is that comes up, and you are honest with them, then you can make a choice to judge yourself, to create labels and strongly attach to that. You say that I am shy in a social situations because I'm an introvert. And you can use that word, that label introvert, as something, as an observation, so as something you recognize, or as an attachment. So it can become an attachment. If you attach yourself too much to that label, you might start limiting yourself into that box of, I'm an introvert. If you attach yourself too much to that label, then you stay in this closed box, and it's hard for you to then move around, right? There's only so much space in a closed box. So instead of that, recognize that yes, I am an introvert. I do need time alone. I need time to recharge myself by spending time, quality time with myself. It doesn't mean that in every situation I have to be shy, right? So you can choose to observe your emotions without judgment and attachment to labels. And when you do that, you allow yourself to feel and experience whatever comes up. Now, why is this important? Giving yourself a moment to step back can be very beneficial and will be ultimately your biggest tool with changing of your habits, because you have to step back frequently. Maybe you choose a habit and after a while, or a goal, something you want to achieve, and after a while you realize it doesn't resonate anymore. So it's time to move on, and that's okay. And that's okay too. Circling back to the setting of your habits or goals based on whether it's an act of self-love or self-sabotage, and that's where that reflection, that introspect, that mindfulness will help you to recognize, like, have I really picked this goal, this habit, because it supports me? Does it make me feel good? Does it make me feel comfortable, supported, loved, cared for, whatever it is? Does it give me that? Or actually doing this thing makes me anxious, makes me feel overwhelmed? You know, maybe you've set yourself a goal to do a workout routine, right? Go to a gym or take yoga classes, whatever it is. Very popular this time of the year in particular. And maybe first you thought you're doing this for yourself out of love. But it quickly can turn into self-sabotage if you are not being mindful, if you're not checking in with yourself. Let me tell you how. So, for instance, at the start you set dream goal, I'd like to do 4 sessions a week in the gym. I'm gonna nail it. Week 1, you get through it, it's been hard. Week 2, you start to slop. Week 3, work, life, friends, your mom's calling, whatever, lots of shit is happening, and you're struggling to put it in, and you start to become anxious. If I don't do it, I am failing, I am not accomplishing my goals. If you are doing it, then you might be sacrificing sleep, food, time hanging out with your friends, la-di-da-di-da. And then it's starting to making you more unhappy because of these things. So instead, then you take a step back. Not saying you need to throw out your workout routine all the way out of the window. Maybe you just need to step back and think about it. Okay, this hasn't been supportive in this, with this practice, with this layout. So what can I change? How much time do I realistically have in my week if I also want to see my friends and do these other things, whatever they are, and also do my commitments that they can't move? How much time do I have after I check off all my commitments, you know, work, cleaning of the house, these things, seeing my friends? What's left now? Okay. So actually, maybe I just want to go 2 times a week that I'm going to stick to realistically, and perhaps here and there a 3rd class or a 4th class if it fits, you know, but I'm not going to stress out if it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to deprive myself of sleep. I'm not going to deprive myself of having a good time or resting, you know. So food for thoughts on that one. Being constantly on a state of high is very tiring. We don't always have to chase more. We don't always have to follow the same career path we have set out for ourselves. So right now I'm a yoga instructor, but will I be a yoga instructor in 20 years? I don't know. It's likely to change, and I'm okay with that. I really love it right now. I am mindful in the moment that I'm enjoying it. and I'm harvesting the most I can from it, you know, because of society, because of the way we are raised, the information we receive from media, from movies, etc. We are believed that the only way to be happy is to be constantly happy, to be constantly on that high, you know, constantly being ecstatic and excited for future and achieving more and getting more and buying more and spending more. But in reality, that's not possible, right? So let's step back for a minute. It's absolutely normal to be sad, to be angry, to be frustrated, annoyed, and so on. It's perfectly normal. And you can only actually be happy when you normalize these emotions and you give them space in your life. I'm not saying if you're angry, start going smashing around things because I'm embracing my anger, that'd be responsible. But what I'm saying is that notice that you are angry, breathe through it, give it a second, and then after that, think about it. What made you angry? Why have you felt a certain way? And, you know, sometimes silly things will come up. Other times something very, very deep will come up that you recognize. And only then you can really work with it. Only then you can make sure you can prevent that type of anger in that type of situation being having a constant presence. And there's different types of people there. You can stay with these two groups of like extrovert, introvert. You might be using different words for it. And the word doesn't matter, but what matters is that you need to recognize your own energy levels and how much energy is being consumed by doing certain things. And that then again taps back into that idea of setting your habits. So how much effort in terms of energy it's going to take away from you. And there's different types of energy investments, right? There's ones where you drain your mind by focusing a lot on a certain task. There's one that can be emotionally draining, like, you know, being around for people a lot. Being around people for a long period of time can be energetically draining. Listening to conversations and be engaging and all of that, that's tiring to me. I love it, but then I go home and I need my low time. I need to plug in my AirPods and listen to a podcast or watch some silly YouTube videos or Netflix, play on my phone, cuddle my dog, and don't talk to anyone. And so it's okay to not be always on a high, not to always have goals, not to always be needing to better. Sometimes it's enough to just be in the space you already are. So if that's you and there's no new habits that you want to set up today, then that's fine. You probably would have not clicked on this video, so I assume it's not you watching it. But if it's you, just in case I sometimes watch random videos like birth giving. I'm not planning on giving birth anytime soon, but like I end up in that space. Hello, how are you doing? So if that's you, then if you just want to embrace where you are right now, there's still, I think, some things that you can take out from this, like the mindfulness and the recognition. So still just like checking back with yourself frequently. How are these habits, these patterns, these goals, whatever they are, whatever the things you're working with, how are they serving you in the moment? And is there any shift or change that you want to make, if necessary? End of the story, at the bottom line, the biggest takeaway from this video is probably it's okay to not be that girl or that person. Like, let's be gender neutral. Like, I don't know if you're a girl. It's okay to not be that person that you see on the internet, that you see maybe like a celebrity or whatever you look up to, whoever you look up to, or whoever you see a lot. And they are really perfect and you're always like, oh my god, how the fuck are you doing that? I'm so jealous. It's okay to not be that person. Be your own person. Be your own messy person. I learned to embrace my messiness. And And it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. I do that in my classes when I teach, which is my profession, right? That's my work, and I embrace that. I mess up my flows. I picked the wrong side. I forgot what I was gonna say. I say it the wrong way. Whatever. And that's okay. People love it, actually. In fact, if you embrace yourself, that's when you start to attract the people that you love, right? That are your people, your tribe, that are in alignment with you. Now, put all of these fancy words aside. If you're being yourself, people are gonna really like you for who you are, and that way you don't need to keep on pretending to be something else. You're not gonna feel constantly tired and drained. Damn it. You're not going to be constantly tired of masking yourself, of pleasing everyone. You just gonna enjoy yourself the way you are, and life's gonna be fucking better. It's gonna be so much better. It's gonna be more peaceful, right? And that's all that we are constantly after. We are chasing happiness, but happiness isn't something you buy, it's not something you achieve, it's something you feel. That's why you need to tap into your feelings, into your emotions. That's where the real blockage is. It's not in how lengthy your morning routine is. It's not in how good your evening routine is. That's going to contribute to that. These are tools, habits, and habits are tools for you in your life to make it easier for yourself to tap into that space of peace and happiness. But that's all they are. They're just tools. You can wake up every day 30 minutes early and do that extensive morning routine and post it on Instagram and have a perfect grid, but you still might be unhappy. If you're still here, oh my god, you're a fucking legend. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comments below how you received this video. Is there any takeaway from this for you? Is there anything that maybe actually there's a light bulb moment that came to your mind and something else you want to share, to add to the list, to have a conversation about? I love a good conversation. And you can also find me on Instagram if you want to see less polished stuff. Like, it took me only 5 minutes. I chucked all the rubbish over there from the table, but this is a polished up version of me. If you want to see the real deal, come to my Instagram. People on YouTube these days say, oh, we have a good time there. I don't know. I have a good time, and then what you do, I don't know what you do about it. And what else can I say? Nothing. Have a good freaking day and week. Ciao. Lost my thought again. Welcome, ADHD lifer.